I want to speak directly to the women listening to this message. This is for you. This is specifically for the daughters of God who have been struggling with something very real, something that has been weighing on your heart, something that has confused you for a long time. If you are a woman, I need you to hear what I am about to share with you today, because it will change everything. Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to tell you may be hard to hear, but it is the truth that will set you free. There is a mystery operating in the spirit, and if you do not understand it early, life will keep teaching you through pain what wisdom could have taught you through instruction. Many of you have been asking God in tears, why don't they respect me? Why do they overlook me? Why do they treat me carelessly? Why do I give so much and receive so little? And the Lord sent me to tell you something that will transform everything. The problem is not that you are not good enough. The problem is that you have been too good. You have been too available. You have been too nice. You have lowered yourself so much trying to be accepted that people have forgotten how to look up to you. Respect is not begged for. Respect is not earned through tears or sacrifice. Respect is commanded by alignment. There are reasons people rise when some enter a room. There are reasons people listen intently to some and speak carelessly to others. It is not your beauty, it is not your age, it is not even your talent alone. It is something much deeper. It is something spiritual. It is your posture. It is your boundaries. It is the way you carry yourself. It is the way you have decided to be treated. Many of you have power but no posture. Many have grace but no boundaries. Many have tremendous value, but you have advertised yourself so cheaply that people have stopped seeing the price tag. And hear me carefully, because this is crucial. The way people treat you is often a direct response to what you permit, what you project, and what you tolerate. There are women who laugh at everything, even at things that should make them cry. There are women who explain themselves to everyone, even to people who have no authority in their lives. There are women who give emotional access to people who have not earned spiritual permission. And when people see this, even if they cannot articulate it, they lose reverence for you. In the spirit, familiarity without honor produces contempt. When you make yourself too available, too accessible, too predictable, people stop handling you with care. Not because you lack value, but because value that is exposed without order is abused. Look at Jesus. He was meek, but he was not cheap. He was loving, but he was not careless with his presence. There were crowds around him, but access to him was controlled. Even God himself does not reveal everything to everyone. If the Almighty values boundaries, who taught you that openness without wisdom is humility? Some of you were taught to be nice, but you were not taught to be discerning. You were taught to be quiet, but you were not taught to be confident. You were taught to smile, but not to set standards. And so you grew up apologizing for your existence, shrinking your voice, laughing to be accepted, overgiving to be loved. And slowly, respect left the room. You learn to read moods instead of standing in your identity. You learn to adjust yourself so that people would be comfortable. But no one ever taught you how to remain consistent so that people would be correct. Let me tell you something that may shock you. People do not always disrespect you because they are evil. Many times they disrespect you because you do not respect yourself enough to enforce order. When you tolerate jokes that wound you, you train people to wound you again. When you accept inconsistency, you announce that stability is not required to access you. When you keep explaining your worth to people who question it, you prove that you do not believe it fully yourself. The spirit world is always watching. The spirit world always reacts to what you accept. In the realm of the spirit, honor responds to clarity. When a woman knows who she is, confusion cannot stay around her. When a girl understands her assignment, casual people become deeply uncomfortable. That discomfort is not your problem. It is actually evidence of growth. Some of you are too loud in places where silence would give you authority, and too silent in places where your voice is required. Respect does not come from noise. It comes from weight. And weight comes from depth, discipline, and self-governance. Watch this carefully. The same people who ignore you today will adjust tomorrow when you change your posture. Not because they suddenly became good people, but because something in you shifted. The spirit world always reacts when alignment changes. When you stop being available to everyone, availability becomes valuable again. When you stop explaining yourself, people start listening. When you stop apologizing for your existence, people start respecting it. You must learn the power of no, not angrily, not rudely, but firmly. You must learn that being kind does not mean being careless with your presence. You must learn that access to you is a privilege, not a right. Until you understand this, life will keep teaching you through pain what this wisdom could have taught you through instruction. You are not small. You are not ordinary. You are not replaceable. But if you keep behaving like you are optional, people will treat you as such. Heaven does not joke with identity. When God defines a thing, he defends it. But you must first agree with his definition. The moment you stop chasing validation, respect will start chasing you. The moment you stop explaining yourself to everyone, people will start truly listening. When you stop begging to be chosen, you become the standard that others must rise to meet. This is not about pride. This is about order. This is about alignment. This is about restoring the dignity that God placed upon you before opinions and rejections touched you. Listen to me carefully, because there is a great deception many people carry through life. They believe that respect is something you negotiate for with people. You don't negotiate for respect. You don't beg for it with silence. You don't buy it with overgiving. Respect follows alignment, not approval. And until this truth settles deep in your spirit, you will keep exhausting yourself trying to be accepted by people who were never assigned to honor you. Many girls grow up learning how to read moods instead of learning how to stand in identity. You learned how to adjust yourself for comfort, but you were never taught how to remain consistent for correctness. So you enter rooms already editing yourself, reducing yourself, softening your convictions, laughing at things that hurt you, agreeing with things that confuse you, all in the name of being nice. But peace without alignment is not peace. It is compromise disguised as kindness. The spirit realm responds to order. Heaven does not reward noise. Heaven responds to structure. When your life is not aligned, people may like you, but they will not respect you. Approval is emotional. Respect is spiritual. Approval comes from feelings. Respect comes from perception. People approve of what pleases them in the moment, but they respect what carries weight. Many of you want to be liked, but you were designed to be regarded. And there is a significant difference. When you chase approval, you lose authority. When you prioritize alignment, authority begins to speak for you without effort. That is why some people do not talk much, yet their presence silences a room. It is not volume, it is alignment. Alignment means your words match your values, your emotions obey your convictions. Your access is governed by wisdom, not by loneliness. When a woman is aligned, she does not need to announce who she is. The atmosphere adjusts on its own. Many of you are offended by how people treat you, but you have never examined how you treat yourself. You apologize too quickly for things that are not your fault. You explain too much to people who have not earned the right to understand you. You tolerate inconsistency from people who demand consistency from you. You keep returning to places where your value is questioned. And the spirit world records patterns. Men record patterns. People respond to patterns. When your life lacks alignment, people sense it even if they cannot explain it. Not everyone who disrespects you hates you. Some disrespect you because your life signals permission. They sense that you will not enforce boundaries. They know that you will accept their treatment. Alignment removes that permission. Alignment says clearly, this is who I am and this is how I function. When people meet clarity, they must adjust or they must exit. Jesus was never rude, but he was never confused. He did not explain himself to everyone. He did not answer every question. He did not heal every person who demanded it. He walked in alignment with his assignment, and because of that, even demons recognize his authority. Authority responds to alignment before it responds to words. When you are aligned, you stop trying to prove your worth. You stop auditioning for spaces you were never sent to. You stop begging for consistency from people who chose inconsistency. You stop over-functioning in relationships. You start moving slower, speaking fewer words, observing more, deciding with wisdom. Respect does not come when people finally understand you. Respect comes when you finally understand yourself. When you know who you are, you stop accepting roles that contradict it. When you know your value, you stop negotiating your standards. When you know your assignment, you stop being distracted by opinions. Alignment will cost you applause. Some people will leave when you stop overgiving. Some will call you proud when you start setting boundaries. Some will say you have changed when you start honoring yourself, but heaven will back you when earth misunderstands you. The tragedy is not that people don't respect you. The tragedy is when you keep living out of alignment just to be approved by those who cannot define your destiny. But the moment alignment becomes more important than acceptance, something shifts in the spirit. Something shifts in your voice. Something shifts in your presence. Something shifts in the way people look at you, listen to you, and approach you. Let me speak to you with honesty and love. Boundaries are not walls of pride. They are gates of wisdom. Many people think that love means unlimited access. But in the kingdom of God, access is always controlled by order. When boundaries are absent, value is abused, not because the value is small, but because it is exposed without protection. Endurance without wisdom is self-betrayal. God never called you to be available to everyone. He called you to be a steward of yourself. The way people handle you is a direct response to the rules you set around your life. If your time is always available, it will never be honored. If your emotions are always accessible, they will never be protected. If your presence is always guaranteed, it will never be valued. Boundaries teach people how to approach you, how to speak to you, and how to remain in your life. In the spirit realm, honor follows structure. Some of you keep asking why people keep crossing lines, but you have never clearly drawn them. You keep hoping people will understand, but clarity was never spoken. Silence does not communicate standards. Unspoken expectations always lead to repeated disappointment. Boundaries are not emotional reactions, they are spiritual decisions. They are not built in anger, they are established in alignment. When you finally decide what is acceptable and what is not, your life becomes easier, not harder. Many people are uncomfortable around boundaries because boundaries expose intentions. Those who benefit from your lack of limits will resist when limits appear. Do not be surprised when people who once enjoyed unlimited access begin to accuse you of changing. You did change, you grew, you finally began to respect yourself, and that is beautiful. Boundaries do not push the right people away. They protect the right people and filter out the wrong ones. Anyone who truly values you will adjust to your standards. Anyone who refuses to adjust was never assigned to stay. When you don't set boundaries, you teach people that disrespect has no consequences. And where there are no consequences, behavior never changes. People repeat what you allow. Patterns form where limits are absent. Many women are exhausted, not because life is hard, but because everyone has access to them. You carry burdens you were never meant to carry. You listen to voices you were never meant to entertain. You explain yourself to people who have no authority to define you. Boundaries restore dignity. They return honor to your time, your words, your presence. When you begin to say no without guilt, something powerful happens in your spirit. Your yes becomes meaningful again. Honor is sustained, not demanded. It is built daily by the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you decide, and the way you discipline your life. Identity gives you value, but posture determines how that value is treated. Many people know who they are, but very few know how to stand in who they are. Posture is not arrogance, and it is not silence. Posture is intentional conduct. It is the quiet confidence that comes from self-governance. When a woman lacks discipline, even if she has great potential, her life lacks authority. Discipline seals authority. It aligns your actions with your convictions and removes contradictions. People can sense but cannot name. Honor is fragile around inconsistency. When your words change depending on who you are with, people lose trust. When your standards are just based on pressure, people stop taking you seriously. When your emotions lead your decisions, your life becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability erodes honor. Strength is not in reaction, it is in regulation. The ability to pause, to think, to choose silence instead of impulse, restraint instead of excess, wisdom instead of emotion. That is what builds weight in the spirit. Weight is what makes people listen even when you whisper. When people see that you respect your time, they respect it too. When people see that you do not tolerate confusion, they approach you with clarity. When people see that you do not overreact, they become careful with their words. So today, lift your head and adjust your posture. Guard your heart, filter your words, choose your access carefully, walk slowly, speak wisely. And watch how the same wall that ignored you begins to handle you with care. Not because you change your value, but because you finally honored it. You are not too much, you are not too aggressive, you are not too direct. You are finally beginning to be enough for yourself.